Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable guest for the day, Indian film director Sri Vivek Ranjan Agnihotri, director of IIM Rohtak, Professor Dheeraj Sharma, esteemed faculty members, fellow students, and the entire IIM Rohtak community. It gives us great pleasure to welcome you all on the occasion of IIM Rohtak's 14th Foundation Day. On November 16, 2009, the Indian Institute of Management Rohtak was founded, and another year has passed in the institute's illustrious journey.
In the NRIF India Rankings 2022, IIM Rohtak positioned itself at 16 in the management category. With the goal to eventually take the lead on a worldwide scale, the Indian Institute of Management Rohtak is the benchmark for elite management education in India. In order to develop future leaders who can manage, build strong organizations, it continues to impart knowledge in the management domain from a discrete cost-functional perspective. IIM Rohtak offers top-notch management education through a variety of long and short-term programs in addition to full-time regular programs in order to fulfill Institute's objective. With AMBA accredited, IIM Rohtak is now in the top 2% of business schools in the world. Today, we are the largest IIM Rohtak in terms of student strength and programs. As a result, we have all gathered here today to mark this momentous occasion, which represents the culmination of the Institute's accomplishments over the past 13 years.
Shubham karoti kalyanam, arogyam dhana sampat. Shatru buddhi vinashaya, deepa jyoti namaste. We would like to invite our honorable guest, Sri Vivek Ranjan Agnihotri and Professor Dheeraj Sharma, the director of IIM Rohtak, to light the lamp and mark the beginning of this celebratory occasion. Please welcome them with a round of applause. This is the day we all wait for all year. It is a day of celebration, success, and tradition. And to double the joy of the day, we are graced by the presence of our esteemed guest, Sri Vivek Ranjan Agnihotri. We feel honored to have you with us, sir. Sir is an Indian film director, film producer, screenwriter, and author who works in Hindi cinema. Sir started his career with editorial agencies and moved to producing and directing teleserials. He debuted in Bollywood with the crime thriller Chocolate and has directed multiple films since. In 2017, Sir was selected as convener by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in the preview committee of the 48th International Film Festival of India. As of 2022, he is a member of the Board of India's Central Board of Film Certification and a cultural representative of Indian cinema at the Indian Council for Cultural Relations. He won the National Film Fair Award for the best screenplay dialogues for the Tashkent Files 2019. He also won and directed the Kashmir Files. In October 2022, the film was selected in the Panorama Film at the International Film Festival of India.
I would now request Professor Dheeraj Sharma, Director of IIM Rohtak, to kindly welcome our guest with a small token of gratitude. We would now like to invite Professor Dheeraj Sharma, Director of IIM Rohtak, to kindly deliver a welcome address.
Namaste, good afternoon. It is a great privilege for us to host Sri Vivek Agnihotri ji. This is not his first visit. This is the second time we have had the privilege of having him. In 2019, during the Pan IIM conference, he was a keynote speaker in a very important panel on media. But this is his first visit to our Rohtak campus. And we are indeed very honored and privileged to have your presence here. I'll tell you why it is a privilege and an honor. I have known Vivek ji for some time now, and I've had the privilege of interacting with him on multiple occasions. What I have come to know of him is that he's not a commercial filmmaker. When I say commercial filmmaker, commercial aspects of cinema, to the best of my understanding and knowledge, has never attracted. The very first movie which I had come to know, I did not, by the way, know a whole lot about chocolate, but there was a movie called Buddha in a Traffic Jam, which I, with my colleagues in IIM Ahmedabad, we went to watch together. And at that point in time, we said, we must talk to him sometime. Because that was such an important subject. And it made me realize, as a professor, as a researcher, the impact of professors and researchers on young, malleable minds of our youth. Youth holds professors in a very high esteem. Because we're speaking from a pedestal and we use the name professor before us, which means we are professing all the time. We are not really teaching. We profess. When you profess, it's apparently gospel truth. Take it or leave it. It presents us with considerable responsibility of telling you really well-formed perspectives predicated on reason. Today, there is a war between Russia and Ukraine. Just yesterday, I had some of my colleagues who tell me that one of the city has been taken by Ukraine and whatnot. I asked them, what is the source of information? So the source of information is media reports. I haven't seen what goes on in Ukraine. I don't know what is happening in Russia physically. So media reports play a very, very important role. And 5 years hence, I'm quite confident that there'll be a series of movies made on Russia-Ukraine conflict based out of Hollywood, which would shape your views about what was right and what was wrong. Movies are one of the important parts of media diet that you consume. It's a very, very powerful medium. If it wasn't a powerful medium, then the United States during the time of Cold War would not make it mandatory for most of its embassies and consulates across the globe to show Hollywood movies to people in the Eastern Bloc. It was mandated that they would show Hollywood movies in the Eastern Bloc so that people have a yearning for the American way of life. And that yearning was created. If you watch a typical Hollywood movie of 70s and 80s, you would find that the American is independent, truthful, honest, sincere about his country and his society, whereas a Russian is always projected to be cold, calculative, without emotions, and is willing to win at any cost. One of the classic movies of Rocky Balboa and the Russian fighting. The Russian is a fighting machine. It's 6'7" Dolph Lundgren, if I remember the actor, and Rocky Balboa is the it's that Goliath and the story of the dwarf, and 5'8" and 6'7", and he's fighting, but he's fighting for a cause, and this is a fighting machine. So the machine doesn't win, the passion of the Americans. And that stimulated a whole generation of Americans. In Indian context, it is with deep regret that I must tell you that we really haven't done power that we enjoyed across the world through our movies. I was recently, in the last 6 months, in Central Asia and numerous countries. They still call Mithun Chakravarti Jimmy Jimmy. That's the power of movies. And they know all these actors and they sing our songs. We were in Turkey as well, in some countries there. Again, people listen to our songs and listen to our media and also watch our movies. It has an impact in telling them who we are, what we stand for. And in the last few decades, we've really taken a different direction. And that's where our friend, Mr. Agnihotri, comes in. I must tell you, of all the movies that he has made, I'm a big fan of Tashkent Files. I haven't seen another research movie like that. It's one of the most well-researched movies. It talks about an event about which even the educated class of India did not know. Many people assumed that Lal Bahadur Shastri was a space between the two prime ministers. Whereas his reign was almost 2 years. It was like 18, 19 months. And some of the most important decisions related to India, self-reliance, some of the things that we take benefit of, Green Revolution, White Revolution, all happened during Amul. All these happened during that time. And one of the most important victories of India, which really uplifted the spirit of India, the self-esteem of an Indian, the 1965 war took place under him. We were really, really down and out. In 1962, after the debacle with China, the nation's self-esteem is the most important thing. We, being proud of who we are, not necessarily, but being confident of our social identity, was something that was started. And his movie made us aware of what transpired. I don't know. In 2 minutes, I'll be closing. But in those 2 minutes, I want to demonstrate to you that how what you know about the world stems from movies. Largely, the sources of information. I keep asking people who won the Second World War. I've asked this question, by the way, to more than 50,000 students now. More than 50,000 on more than 100 occasions, different settings. It's a sociological experiment in itself. And by and large, 98% of the people in the audience, and I'm going to ask you the same question, you would respond, it was allies. It was the US. Is that a fair statement? When 80% of the war effort happened on the Eastern Front, Russia lost 1/3 of its population. But who won the Second World War? That is communicated through movies. Ben Affleck comes on a Hollywood movie and you tend to believe that because it's a big star. And therefore, the deep and profound impact of movies cannot just be set aside. Our filmmakers are enjoying the privileges given by the love and regard of our society. So it is incumbent upon them that they do not take just anomalies and make movies around them. They demonstrate what happens in society at large. I don't believe the last movie that I've seen in maybe last 20 years has ever shown a functional Indian family. They always show a dysfunctional Indian family. In the last 20 years, no movie ever demonstrates the struggle of an Indian youth. I mean, our kids go to school, they don't even know where to go. Class 9 onwards, they're going to coaching centers to make something of themselves. That's the reality. I don't know if there is a movie which has, or a commercial movie, a large-scale movie. There may be a documentary here and there. And those movies have a very deep and profound impact on who we are. Today, one of the single most important thing which I believe our nation needs to do is to uplift the self-esteem of our youth so that they are confident about who they are. And I believe that movies will play a very, very important role. And individuals like Vivek Agnihotri, who has made some last movie, highlighted an event which nobody even knew, the Nandigram incident, which people were not even aware. At least the minimum that has been accomplished by that movie is that it has given you another perspective to think about. And the job of a good professor, a good filmmaker, a good policymaker is to offer you both perspectives for you to take a position. You should not have a lopsided perspective. Today already we have a lopsided perspective. Most of the students have outsourced their wisdom and thinking to the West. Search engines dedicate themselves to coloring your minds. A standard individual, standard search, a person doesn't go beyond page 1. 99% of the people don't go beyond page 1. 99.8% of the people don't go beyond page 3. So whatever is put in those introductory 30 links is actually determining what you think about an individual, a topic, a subject, an event. And therefore, it is incumbent upon us to create alternative perspectives for people to think, alternative perspectives for people to come and present, and thereby completing the fulfillment of holistic thinking. And that, I believe, is critical. And thereby, Mr. Agnihotri comes in and presents an alternative perspective, which is one of the most difficult things in an industry, which is a family, which is not actually an industry. It's a family. And now when you have a person from the family presenting an alternative perspective, it is even more brutal. So we're grateful to you for coming here. And we are looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this very, very important subject on our Foundation Day. Because 20 years hence, it's not going to matter what you say. What is going to matter is what is written in well-documented, reputable outlets about you and what people tend to believe, whether they believe in those outlets or not. So I want to thank him again. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir.
I would now like to invite Professor Kaustubh Ghosh, Dean Academics, to present the program highlights of the Institute.
Good morning. It gives me an immense pleasure to share on this August occasion that we have students close to 1,500 at IIM Rohtak. And with that, we become the largest IIM among all IIMs in first, second, and third generations, which are currently there. Our flagship program, PGP, is internationally accredited by AMBA. So far as the batch profile is concerned, we have close to 70% female representation of students back to back for last 3 years. I think that's a matter of great pride, and the batch is represented by as many as 30 different states and union territories. Students have come from, on an average, close to 40% from commerce and management studies, 30% from engineering studies, and the rest from science, humanity, and other related disciplines. That really talks high of the diversity strength of the PGP program. We are the first IIM to have introduced BBA MBA integrated program in management in the year 2019. And we are also the first time to have introduced BBA LLB integrated program in law in 2021. In both these integrated programs, around 50 to 55% students are female, and as many as 25 different states and union territories are represented in the batches. Post-pandemic, we have close to 50 foreign visiting faculty members who have come here and taught in these programs and stayed in our campus. And even currently, few of them are here in the campus. So far as our doctoral program is concerned, currently there are 25 scholars at different stages of their dissertation. And all passed out doctoral students have largely joined in other IIMs, foreign universities, and also consultancy firms and government organizations. We are again the first IIM to have introduced 2-year postgraduate diploma program in sports management. And the Honorable Prime Minister earlier this year mentioned in his speech about this program. The institute runs about 25 different short duration management development programs, MDPs, for senior government officials and executives in private enterprises in areas like leadership development, project management, digital marketing, so on and so forth. We aspire to do even better in all our programs in times to come. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Professor S.K. Pandey, Dean Research and Executive Education, to present the research highlights of the Institute.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me again an immense pleasure to inform that the Institute, like in previous years, has excelled really well in research output. Our NIRF rankings, which has improved significantly, has got a great component of research, and Institute has regularly featured among the top 3 and 5 institutions among all IIMs in per capita research output. In the year 2021-22, we had 88 publications from faculty members, which was ably led by Professor Sharma, along with help from doctoral students. It included 65 publications in reputed journals, 6 cases and teaching notes, 1 book, and total number of conference papers presented for physically were 3, with newspaper articles also number 13. We are continuously doing consultancy projects which have got larger ramifications for public policy, which government undertakes. Our inputs in those consultancy projects has helped governments, both Haryana and the central governments, to take policy measures which has helped the country and the state. Some of the ongoing consultancy projects that we are currently involved in include Army Management Studies Board for their young generation officers and their aspirations, Ministry of Home Affairs for modernizing their CAPFs, National Disaster Relief Force for prompt disaster relief management, and Skill Mission of Government of Haryana. We have also completed multiple consultancy projects in this year, which included Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Home Affairs, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, and India Post. During the COVID period, IIM Rohtak did its share of work during COVID. IIM Rohtak conducted an oxygen audit for the entire state of Haryana. You will be knowing that at the peak of COVID, when people were not coming out of their homes, the Indian Institute of Management Rohtak team led by Professor Sharma and some faculty members, including students, visited the hospitals across the state to conduct the oxygen audit. That helped the management and the state to optimize the utilization of oxygen, which was very scarce, and we helped in the logistic planning of that, which would have saved multiple lives. Some of the faculty members and students also contacted COVID during this exercise, but they were not afraid of getting out and conducting this audit. So we are very proud of them, and a great round of applause for all of them who were a part of this. During the period of COVID, faculty members also conducted a lot of research papers which had policy implications. And 2 of our research papers, one on the food grain supply network and another on the migrant laborers during this period, which was published in reputed journal, was also recognized by the World Health Organization. Thank you very much. And we hope that this year we will be even bettering our whatever we have done in the last year. We are quite hopeful that Institute will be among the top 3 institutions in terms of our per capita research output. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to invite Professor Deepika Jain, Chairperson, Hostel and Student Affairs, to present the student achievements.
Good afternoon, everyone. Very warm welcome to everyone on this auspicious occasion of the Institute 14 Foundation Day. Sir, I'm happy to share that in terms of placement, the Institute has been successful in increasing the average placement CTC by 16% from the previous year. Around 140 plus recruiters trusted the IIM Rohtak brand, securing placement for the entire batch. The proactive relationship with the corporate world has been maintained via Corporate Connect program with over 40 plus leadership lectures by industry stalwarts. Our students have been selected for innumerable live projects wherein they are provided a platform for showcasing their skill set to the industry. Management conclave and management summit held over the year see the participation of various senior corporate executives to share their experiences and views on the latest industry trends. During the COVID period, annual events like TEDx, IIM Rohtak Infusion, Alumni were held in online mode. Now will all the students back on campus, all the flagship events will be held in full swing and at campus, giving ample opportunity to the student to learn. Our students have continued to maintain the Institute's strong presence at various national level corporate competitions. Some of them they were international winners for the Red Summit case writing competition at IIM Ahmedabad. Our students were national winner for the governance challenge conducted by Haryana government. Our students were campus winner for Xiaomi competition. Among others, they were also national semi-finalists, second position for Global Management Challenge, SDC Portugal. Our sports teams have regularly brought laurels to the Institute, regularly begging with wins against prominent institute. Across all institutes, our student community has played a pioneering role in the digitization of the student administrative structure and all student activities, ensuring a seamless induction to the committee and club culture. Several enriching events and activities have been organized at regular intervals, aimed at peer engagement. Additionally, students have been actively involved in social welfare programs and initiatives, especially those aimed at underprivileged children. Our students have been at the forefront of all the activities of the Institute. We're confident that such activities will grow by leaps and bounds in the coming years, and the students of IIM Rohtak will continue to bring glory to the Institute. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. We would now invite Shri Vivek Ranjan Agrihotri, sir, to kindly deliver the keynote address.
Hello, everyone. Very good afternoon to you. Professor Dheeraj Sharma ji, all the faculty members and wonderful students. I wish you a very happy Foundation Day. 14 years is a long journey. I'm sure this institute has produced some brilliant minds, visionary minds, and achievers from this institute. And right in the beginning, I wish all of you all the best. I hope you will take Mission Bharat forward. I'll explain it to you what Mission Bharat is. When Professor Saab called me and he wanted me to come here, last time I was supposed to come. I am guilty I couldn't come. But this time I said, whatever happens, I come. So I flew yesterday, last evening from Goa. I am here tomorrow morning. I am going to US. पर कहते हैं कोई अच्छा काम करने के पहले माथा टेक लेना चाहिए ईश्वर के जाके. And I'm a professor of I'm a son of a professor. I've been professing myself. I teach also. I love teaching. And for me, every educational institute is like a temple. For me, religion means learning. And today I am come here to make a relationship with all of you. In these times, the rarest thing is relationship. And it is because if you see for the first time, this entire world is going through a massive crisis, and that crisis is trust. We can't trust anyone. There is no trust. There's so much of trust deficit. You look at America, superpower, they are the richest people, most innovations take place in US, best institutes in the world, but nobody does rankings or indexes on trust. If you'll find USA at the bottom. You go to any nation today in Europe, European Union, no trust. Despite being a globalized world, despite being the most connected world, despite being the most efficiently communicated society or the world, the humanity, one thing which is absent today is trust. And it's happening because we are talking to people. We are not talking with people. We are talking to each other. We are not talking with each other. We are looking at the eyes of people when we talk. We are not looking into the eyes of people when we talk. So I have come here to establish a relationship with each one of you. And it's possible only when I share with you thoughts, ideas, which are my own, which are personal, which I have experienced, because you will realize in this world, you can establish a deep, meaningful relationship only when we share personal experiences rather than academic experiences. And I especially want to point out the kind of times we live in, the kind of future we are heading towards. First, we live in an over-communicated society. In last 2 years, we have seen plethora of gurus and teachers and mentors and all kinds of people. YouTube is full of them. Wherever you go, there are ads and ads running. They are telling you what to do, how to do. But the world is, qualitatively, world is not going up, it's going down. Because everybody is busy impressing the other person. Very few people are expressing themselves. So I want to begin with that the first mantra you must have in your life is stop impressing and start expressing. And never be afraid of expressing yourself. When you express, you may be wrong, but you are genuine. When you impress, you may sound right, but you are not honest. You have to choose, you want genuineness, honesty, or you want spectacle. Professor Dheeraj Sharma was talking about cinema. I have spent almost 20 years now in the world of cinema. I started with a bang. I was making big, huge commercial films with big stars, big monies, everything which can make your parents proud, everything which one can dream of, desire of. But there came a time when I said, this is not what I signed, because I was impressing all the times. You are impressing stars, stars are impressing people. This is a world of fakeness. In a fake world, everybody is impressing everybody, but nobody was telling stories which were your own voice. We were always catering to a market which wanted to listen to a certain kind of story. And there was a big belief, which still is, which is why Bollywood is going down. The big belief was when I joined that don't make people think. Tell stories which do not make people think. And therefore, I realized that the film industry was only dumbing down the audience. We are the only filmmaking country in the world, the only film industry which makes something called mindless comedies. आपने ध्यान नहीं दिया होगा, पर मैं आपका ध्यान दिलाना चाहूँ. Lot of critics with lot of pride, they write, it's a wonderful movie provided you leave your mind at home, leave your brains at home. हम सब यही बोलते हैं. कैसी थी वो फिल्म? यार दिमाग मत लगाओ, बड़ी मजेदार. What is a human being without a brain? Imagine your life. खाना खाओ, दिमाग मत लगाओ. सोशल मीडिया में रहो, दिमाग मत लगाओ. फिल्में देखो, दिमाग मत लगाओ. रात को टीवी डिबेट्स देखो, दिमाग मत लगाओ. Do you realize what I'm saying? How systematically the communication industry, the narrative building industry has dumbed us down. To such an extent, I guarantee you take this research, I challenge some student or a body of students or institute, take this challenge and find out if you make 1,000 decisions in a day, which you do, whether to go to left or right, whether to drink this water or that water, you do not realize, but you take thousands of decisions in a day. I guarantee you, without conducting any research, that 99.9% decisions are not yours. Still, we fight for freedom. We talk about free speech. Nothing you speak is your own thought. Because we have been dumbed down. We have been conditioned that without impressing others, there is no success. और उसके सिलसिले में हुआ ये है कि हम लोग सूक्ष्म को भूल गए, स्थूल दिखता है. Everything has to be a spectacle. Every single thing has become an event. Every single thing. I'm sorry, I'm not saying what is right and wrong. अभी भी मेरा कुछ ही 4-5 दिन पहले जन्मदिन था. I was in Goa, I was working. और मैंने कभी अपना बर्थडे नहीं मनाया, क्योंकि बर्थडे क्या, मेरी माँ मेरे को बताशा खिला देती थी या कुछ गुलगुले खिला देती थी, थोड़ा दही चटा देती थी, हो जाता था जन्मदिन. But today, every moment of your life has become a spectacle. It's become an event. All of us are busy marketing ourselves. And therefore, we are not just an over-communicated society, we are the most underconfident society. And the proof is that if we were not an underconfident society, there won't be so many self-help books in the market. There won't be learn yoga in 7 days. There won't be group meditation classes. Imagine group meditation classes, antithesis of meditation. Online spirituality classes. Look at these self-help gurus, how they are growing every day. It simply shows that psychologically we are becoming duffers. I'm sorry to use that word, but you have to understand. And that has been my fight. In 2009, after having made huge films like Chocolate and Gold and all, I realized two things. Number one, whatever you make, whichever movie you make, ultimately it becomes a star's film. Your film is as good as the star. स्टार के सितारे अच्छे चल रहे हैं, So it's a great film like Dangal. Star ke sitare kharab ho gaye, then it's made a craft film like Lal Singh Chaddha. Where are you? Where is the storyteller? Where is the thinker? And second thing, I realized this is the only industry in the world on the face of this planet which invests 0% of its budget on research. 0%. Even a housewife, if she hosts a dinner, she also spends some time researching, going to the market and figuring out by koi nayi recipe aayi hai ya kahin ja. You invest time at least. If you don't invest money, you invest time. You invest thoughts, emotions. अगर आपको शाम को किसी अपने पुराने दोस्त से मिलना है, तो भी when you are walking, अगर if you are a retired person, you are walking early in the morning in the garden, you sit down and think for 10 minutes, मैं इससे क्या बात करूंगा? कुछ तो. This is the only industry where there is a zero thought, zero research, zero discussion, zero debate. And at every step you are told that audience is dumb. They are idiots. The first film I was doing, the mega star who has been ruling the industry for last 30 years, one of the second or third most successful stars of Indian cinema. He used to tell me every time, every hour, मेरी बात सुनो, बुजुर्गों की बात सुना. ज्यादा कहानी नहीं होनी चाहिए फिल्म के. लोग confuse हो जाते. And I got so fed up, so frustrated, then I said mentally that let me resign from this place. Otherwise, I am going to die the most unhappy person. And I actually resigned. I left and I started teaching. So in a chance workshop in Indian School of Business in Hyderabad, I was conducting a workshop called IIM Buddha for global leadership. That's how the name of my foundation and production house came, which believed that everybody is born enlightened, and slowly with education and with social pressures and all these over communication, we are dumbed down and we forget that we have exactly the same power as any other enlightened person. Because we can, all of us have the potential to have greatest of the ideas, but we are told that no, you are not capable. That's why we stop doing. And there are some students asked me to mentor a CSR project. And the CSR project, they decided to make a documentary on Naxal issue. And it was exact opposite of what they were taught in their college. It was like there's a industrialist and she goes to Bastar and her helicopter has a snack. She gets caught with Naxals. And then she realizes that Naxals are messiahs and she's the villain who's actually generating wealth and capital. And she shuts down her mind and she goes and starts living with them. I found a very stupid idea. I said, Acha, who's financing it? They said, no, we saved because ISB has very rich students. They work for 2 years and then they come. They said, we all of us 10 students are investing some 20,000 or 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees each. And that's how they were raising money. It's like a doctor who comes to learn medicine and he says, no, medicine doesn't work. That's what he's trying to do. So I told them, you are the future CEOs of the world. First of all, you are putting in your own money and then you are making a film on why we should not generate capital and wealth. I was speaking to Professor Saab, exactly the same thing some time back. I said, if you have to make something for the market. And that's how this whole idea of Buddha in a traffic jam came, which ultimately I ended up in directing. You can't even imagine. It was somebody promised us 1 crore rupees and last 25 lakhs he did not give. When he saw the film, he said, no, how can I give more money for a film which is against my own ideology? So we got stuck. Film got stuck. We made it in 2010. Nobody released it. 2016, I decided to go back to my village because I realized nothing is happening and I was not willing to go back to the old system of Bollywood and I was broke. I had no money. It was a dark, gloomy monsoon day in Bombay. I was painting because when I'm really, really sad or I'm in a kind of a confused state, I paint. It was very dark outside. Then a thought came to me. An idea came to me and I said, why am I struggling to release this film in theaters? Just because I've shot it on camera does not mean that I have to take it to theaters. If theater chains and the studios are not willing to release it, it does not mean that I spend all my life doing that. It's a story. Who am I? Am I a filmmaker? Just because filmmaker sounds very glamorous, who are you? I'm a filmmaker. अच्छा अच्छा आप filmmaker हैं जी. अच्छा कौन से star के साथ film बना रहे? It feels good. I did two things. In that particular moment, I have written in detail in my book, Urban Axles. First thing I did, I redefined myself. I said, I am not a filmmaker, I'm a storyteller. Second thing, if it's a story, then it can be told to anybody, anywhere. And then I took that film. I remember we showed it on the streets of JNU. I have shown it in such places where you won't even show videos of your child's birthday. I have shown it to an audience of 5 or 10 people. I remember where in some law institute somewhere, they promised to have the house full, but ultimately some people opposed it and there were 6 or 7 students were sitting there and they were very embarrassed. I think it was University of Law in Hyderabad or somewhere. I don't remember exactly. It's in my book. But I showed, I kept traveling. I kept traveling with the film, Slowly people started understanding the idea. And since then, I have never looked back. It changed my life. After that, I have given thousands of speeches. I have been to US university tours, European university tours. I have written articles. I have said what I wanted to express. Then the theaters I was not limited to theaters. I changed the retailing of the entire idea of the product. I did what Amazon did. If you are interested in the idea, you can directly contact me. I eliminated middlemen, and that's exactly what Buddha in Traffic Jam was. The film's only message was, take out all the middlemen and create a new Bharat. Urban Axles, the book, all the top publishing houses, मुझे रोक दीजिएगा जब time हो जाए. The top publishing houses, the so-called these Western multinational publishing houses, I have those emails with me. I put them in my book also. They said, yeah, Vivek may be a good filmmaker, a wonderful orator and all that, but this Urban Axles, who's going to buy this idea? It's a stupid idea. It won't work. They rejected. We said, okay, we'll publish ourselves. We published the book. It became, till date, is the largest selling and the fastest selling non-fiction book of India. Urban Axles has become a legitimate political and legal word now. Government of India now is filing affidavits in Supreme Court using that term, and Prime Minister has been using it for so many months in every speech. All IS officers in Delhi use the word Urban Axles. See, आप लोग ने भी कहीं ना कहीं कभी ना कभी use किया ही. And recently somebody sent me an article from an Australian newspaper. And that article uses the word Urban Axles. It's going global. How was it marketed? I never tried to impress anyone. I didn't say, hey, I'm launching my book. I just simply went, spoke to whoever was there. If you follow my social media handles, Even today, every day I sit and sign 20, 30 books, which is a very big thing. 16 now. To sign 30, 40 books every day and send it to people at double the price. It's a 300 rupee book. I sell it for 1,000 rupees with my sign for the foundation. And we use that money to mentor small town, middle class, non-English speaking young people, youth to become, to innovate in the field of communication. That is the mission we follow. And that's what I call Mission Bharat. Because I want the new Bharat to have its own narrative. I want your Bharat, which you are going to belong to, Bharat, which is going to belong to you, to be your Bharat, not the Bharat the world tells us. And my Bharat is full of achievements. Yes, we have problems. For last 1 year, we have been doing research on how India made vaccines. Yesterday, somebody interviewed me on India. You have to understand when I say what happens when you try to impress. And throughout, the anchor kept asking me only one thing. Yeah, we understand vaccine, but are you going to show how many people died? Oh, yeah, I understand the achievement of vaccine, but are you going to show that we did not have oxygen? Throughout, she kept telling me all those things. Try to understand in next 2 minutes what I am going to say and listen to it very carefully. In a family, there can be a weak child for a variety of reasons. There can be a poor child in a classroom. What do? Do you keep telling that child how poor you are, how weak you are, these are your problems? Or you try to empower that child? A child who could not run for 50, 60 years, for few years, suddenly is now running with the athletes, the champions. Maybe at number 4, maybe at number 5, but it's running, it's in the race, it's competing. And those 3, 4 people are looking back every time because they're scared. What if this child overtakes me? Isn't that something to celebrate? Yes, people died. People died everywhere in the world. People die. But do you spend your life focusing on death? You are going to die. I'm going to die. Abdul Kalam Sahab died while speaking like me. But was he focusing on death? Or was he focusing on inspiring the next generation of the students who were sitting in front of him? What as Indians are we supposed to do right now? Keep talking about the weaknesses? Keep talking about the gaps? Yes, we have to. But there are experts and specialists who are working for them. We need to focus on the race we are running. It's a difficult race. And why vaccine I'm making? Because I want the youth of this country to understand who we are. Where have we come from? And where are we going? Let me ask you, okay? We are all educated people here. This is the cream of this country. You can't be better than this. IIM, it's a dream of 1.5 billion people in this country. Who made this vaccine? Indian vaccine. Who made this vaccine? Can anybody tell me? Who made Covaxin? How do you know that? How do you know that? Because you heard it. Bharat Biotech, definitely, yes, undoubtedly. But it's like saying, who made you a good manager or a good CEO? You said this building. It's a facility. But this vaccine was made by few virologists of Indian Council of Medical Research and National Institute of Virology in Pune. Very ordinary people. Very ordinary people. If you look at them, you can't even imagine they are scientists. And do you realize 80 to 90% of them are all women? And what kind of women? The kind of women which the West ridicules. Going by their face and the kind of clothes they wear, they say these are not empowered women. Why? तो बर्तन भी धोती थी, झाड़ू भी लगा रही थी, बच्चे का भी ख्याल रख रही थी, पति के भी टेंट्रम सहन कर रही थी, पति भी तो घर में बैठा था, सास ससुर का भी ख्याल रख रही थी, कुछ प्रेग्नेंट थी, एक की शादी हुई और 2 दिन बाद लॉकडाउन में वो फंस गई, पति लक्षद्वीप में, वो यहां पे 2 साल मिली नहीं. This vaccine is made with the sacrifice, struggle, strength, and service of these women, which just by looking at the face, the West ridicules. This is Bharat. This is Bharat. Have you ever wondered, despite so many problems, everybody, if you listen to the media and everywhere, you will believe that India is like everybody is the criminal here. It's the most unsafe place. But do you know which countries have maximum security surveillance systems in their houses and offices? The country which says India is not safe. और हमारे यहाँ, मैं तो बंबई में रहता हूँ, घरों के दरवाजे खुले रहते हैं पूरी बिल्डिंग में, कोई सब यहाँ आते हैं जाते हैं, बच्चे नीचे खेलते हैं, कोई पूछता भी आपके बच्चे बाहर जाते हैं, हैव यू एवर वरीड कि अरे मेरा बच्चा कहीं कोई उठा के ना ले जाए, कोई ड्रग डीलर? इतने सारे बच्चे यहाँ पे पढ़ रहे हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम? All this is happening because we have been dumbed down. As a nation, our confidence has been broken. We have been made to feel defeated. अरे यार यहाँ कुछ नहीं होगा. What is the ambition of a middle class family today in India? It sounds very bitter. It's very, very sad commentary on 70 years of socio-economic development of this country or psychological development. But what is the dream? पढ़ो, engineer बनो, अमेरिका चले जाओ. हमने नरक को स्वर्ग अपने दिमाग में बना. आपको एक बात पता है, आप कभी वर्ल्ड वॉर की बात चल रही थी, यू गो टू यूरोप एंड गो टू दीज म्यूजियम्स एंड टेक दीज गाइडेड टूर्स, गो टू ऑश्विट्ज where they had the biggest concentration camps. Do you know how these Jews, when these Jews landed in Auschwitz, आपके रोंगटे खड़े हो जाएंगे सुन के. They came with the best of the clothes in their bags. They got all their jewelry, all their makeup. They got expensive leather bags with them. Women came with all their fashionable things, jewelry and everything. They got all their savings with them. And they came dressed up looking good. You know why? When they were picked up from Italy and Czech and all other places, you know what they were told? We are taking you to heaven. And they were taken to concentration camps. I go to America all the time. I'm not anti-America, but I'm pro-truth. Have you seen these IT students from Andhra, Bengal, Bihar, how they live? 15, 20, 30 in one apartment. Day and night they are working. आप भी जाते होंगे, आपके कजिन्स होंगे, किसी के बेटे होंगे, किसी के बच्चे होंगे, आप लोग भी जाके देखिए, अपनी आंखों से देखिए. It's slavery. Nobody trusts you. You can't trust anyone. You are a dehydrated human being. You are working day and night, day and night. Why? To fulfill somebody else's dream, to make some other nation strong, and write few posts on WhatsApp about dharma. I think it's time for the young people to destroy all this, change India. It's time for you to pay back to your parents. My son, my daughter, they are your age. We were colonized without our choice. Then our education, the Macaulay's education system conditioned our minds, made us feel like slaves. That's why you see, हम ऐसे तो बड़े चौड़े होते हैं सड़क पे, जैसे ही कोई अंग्रेज आता है यूं यूं करने लगते, सर बोलने लगते हैं उसको. We are the only country जहां पे हर कोई सर और मैम करके बात करता. I go to government offices, everybody sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am, sir, ma'am. ये तो ब्रिटेन में भी लोगों ने बोलना बंद कर दिया सर और मैम. मैं जो भी मुझे मिलता है मैं यूं करता हूं. आप यकीन नहीं करेंगे, people insist that I shake hand. I am saying these are things subconsciously ingrained in our minds. We are not realizing that, and therefore it is very important for the young people of this country to change it. And I'll give you a formula which is based on shared experience. What I have experienced in my life, I'll just give you a small 5V formula. And quickly I'll tell you. But before I get into that, this is something I have practiced, I've thought about it, and I'm doing it, and I've repeatedly experienced and I've found success with this. I'm just sharing it with you. It doesn't mean this is the perfect formula. You write your own formula. What I say, delete it from your mind after this. Let it just stimulate you, but don't go and tell sir that, listen, I heard this 5V formula. You create your own like I created my own. Number one, first V is have vision. What does this? Everybody will tell you, have a dream. I say, never see a dream. Dream to Sheikh Chilli log dekhte hain. Dreams are always broken. Dreams are never real. Dreams always come from your subconscious mind, which is regression. All your repressed ideas, thoughts, feelings go to your subconscious mind. Dreams are always destructive. Nobody in this world has created anything by seeing dream. हाँ जी मुझे सपना आया मैं ये. What do you see in a dream? Ask anybody. There are lots of psychological studies. In dream, the only thing people think of, a beautiful girl or a handsome man, a big house, a plush car, holidays, and looking good. That's all. Nobody sees a dream कि अच्छा मैं गांव में जाऊंगा और जाके मैं लोगों की मदद करूंगा. I won't go to America. I'll stay back in India and I'll serve my country. Or my parents are getting old. I'll quit my job and I'm going to serve my parents, do the service. No, that's nobody's dream. That is vision. And that's why we are scared of seeing vision. Because vision is always constructive, always contributive, and vision is always real. But vision is difficult. And how to see vision? आप कहेंगे भाई ये बोल तो दिया पर vision कैसे देखूं मैं? मैं तो एक 19-20-21 साल का लड़का हूं, लड़की हूं, मैं कैसे देखूं vision? So I found my own trick. I said, write your own obituary. You lie down or sit down, go to a park, sit on a bench under a tree, close your eyes, and visualize that you are dead. And it's your body which is lying. हमारे यहाँ हिंदुस्तान में जब कोई मर जाता है तो people come और दो लाइन बोलते हैं. Now visualize honestly. अब तो आप मर चुके हैं, अब आपको कोई क्या कहने, कुछ एजेंडा तो है नहीं इसमें, पॉलिटिक्स क्या है कि कोई ये बोले, अब तो किसी को इंप्रेस भी नहीं कर सकते, आप मरे पड़े हुए. तो आप ये देखिए, व्हाट इज योर फादर टॉकिंग, व्हाट इज योर मदर सेइंग अबाउट. जिस बच्चे को मैंने इतना सैक्रिफाइस करके बड़ा किया, एमबीए कराया, वो माँ आपके बारे में क्या बोलती? Your sister, your brother, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, your social media friends. आजकल तो कोई मर जाता है सोशल मीडिया पे, अच्छा हुआ मर गया साला. Visualize, write your own obituary, and then उसको फाड़ के फेंक दीजिए and say, this is how my obituary is going to be. This is what I want people to tell about. Somebody who dreamt of a big house and got it, or somebody who innovated something or contributed to society of this country or society or family. Write that down. That is vision. Second thing, once you have vision, you can't do anything with it. You need something to make that vision real. And what is that something? Monies don't make visions real. तो सारे अरबपति करोड़पतियों के बच्चे जो हैं वो अपने अपने विजन को रियल कर ले. लोग लोन लेते हैं, भाग जाते हैं. अगर पैसे से ही होता सब, पावर से भी नहीं होता. ये विजन रियल बनते हैं वैल्यूज से. When you apply right values, and right values से don't worry, मैं सूरज बढ़ जाता नहीं हूं, मैं संस्कारों की बात नहीं करने वाला. वैल्यूज का मतलब यही हो जाता है ना कि किसी के पांव छूना. ये भी देखिए डम्बिंग डाउन प्रोसेस है. हाउ वी हैव डम्ड डाउन दैट वी हैव रिड्यूस्ड द ग्रेटेस्ट ऑफ इंडियन वैल्यूज टू कि भाई पूजा करना है, तिलक लगाना है, व्रत करना है, घंटी बजाना है, जय श्री राम. नो, दैट दोज आर ऑल अदर थिंग्स. The greatest of Indian value, what is the greatest Indian thought which we have given to the world? शिवा को तो आप सब जानते हैं. Why Shiva's statue in cosmic dance is outside CERN, which is the world's most advanced nuclear physics lab in Switzerland? Why at CERN Shiva's statue is there outside? Why some of the greatest of the Nobel laureates, physicists, scientists, in their books always devote pages or chapters to Shiva? Some of the greatest of the philosophers and scientists have spoken about Indian philosophy. आज बोलिए तो लोग आपको गाली देंगे, कहेंगे ये है वो है, दुनिया भर की बात कर. And that philosophy is of oneness. That everything is one. And that's why the cosmic dance of Shiva says this destruction, because what is happening in cosmic dance? It's a cycle of destruction and creation, destruction and creation. And it says this is one cycle. It's not two different things. So this philosophy of oneness, and that's why you see we are the strongest society in the world, most close-knit society, because somewhere in our DNA at subconscious level, we still believe in that oneness. That's why our families are so strong. People talk about communal tensions and religion. In India, in no other country, so much of diversity, the real diversity, not intellectual diversity. The real diversity interacts so much and lives peacefully with each other. We are the only country because somewhere we understand. And the third V is, once you have values and vision, now venture. What is venturing? Venturing is very simple. Experiment, question, experiment, learn, experience, learn, apply. This whole thing which is taught by modern self-help gurus about failing is good, failing is good. Why failing is good? If failing is good, then everybody should fail. And what is failure? When you fall sick, have you failed? What is failure? एक बच्चा जो चलना सीख रहा है, when he falls, is he failing? What is failing? Life cannot be quantified. This journey to self-actualization, of empowering your self-empowerment, has not a race. It's not a competition where somebody is giving numbers, you pass and you fail. No. Everything is learning. When people say, when the second wave came, so many people died, India failed. No, we learned from that. We learned what not to do. And therefore, when the third wave of Omicron came, we were the safest country in the world, totally unaffected. Most of the nations are still closed partly. Look the way you are sitting right now. Go to any European or American university right now and see what. Can you sit like this? So venture out, learn, explore, and you can do it how I have done it. Number one, everybody says think out of the box, but that assumption is think out of the box, that for some time when there's a meeting going on or you're in a classroom, come out of the box with a brilliant idea and then go back to the same box. I say destroy the bloody box. There's no box. You're a free person. Boxes are not good. Why think out of the box? Every time you say, आप किसी बच्चे को बोलो, अच्छा बेटा तुम शुगर मत खाया करो, देखिए वो 24 घंटे शुगर खाता रहे. सबसे ज्यादा इंडिया में खाने के ऊपर डिस्कशन करवा चौथ के दिन होता है. वो शब्द ही हटा दीजिए ना बॉक्स, जैसे थिंक. I think out of the box, think. वो तो हमारा ट्रू नेचर है टू थिंक. So destroy every box, venture out and learn everything. Everything is learning. There is no failure in this world. Then once you have these three things, then find your voice. Try to understand what is it that you want to do. You want to create a product? Why? You want to do a job? Why? You want to join Google? Why? You want to be a CEO of Google? Why? Is it aligned with the purpose, the vision of your life? You will find so many things will become simple in your mind. You will find solution. That will be your voice. Like in 2010, when I quit Bollywood and I freed myself of that model called Bollywood, I immediately found my voice. And your voice, again, I have to remind you, is not impressing anyone. It's expressing. And then you will find, in the end, the fifth V, which is victory. Now, what is victory? When I say victory, the first image comes to your mind is somebody crossing that red tape, running, or holding a cup or a medal. Dekho maa, main class mein first aa gaya. Our minds are conditioned. हमने victory को इतना trivialize कर दिया है that we have converted trivialize to a medal, some copper medal or a degree or something like that. Victory is never external. Remember that. Victory is always internal. Victory is how you feel. Victory is not what people say about you. Victory is how you see yourself. Victory is something only you know. And I'll tell you, we started with trust, talking about trust. I'll tell you what is real victory. I'll tell you about a victory which nobody celebrates. Even you don't celebrate. Every society, community has certain stereotype, and there is nothing wrong in stereotype. When I say all these are students, nothing wrong in it. There's a general parameter on which you decide, okay, this community type behaves like that, a behavioral pattern. So like you said, Chinese people keep quiet. They don't share secrets, which is true. If you look at every face, they just sit expressionless. If you say America is a free country, it's a general stereotype, but more or less correct stereotype. So every country, every community has some stereotype. So when you travel the world, you'll slowly realize people say, oh, Britishers are very snooty people. Oh, French are very racist. Americans, you know, they are just flamboyant. And these are not wrong stereotypes, because this is how over generations people have deducted with the shared experiences and observing behavior, they have come to that conclusion. हम सब ये बोलते हैं कुछ गलत नहीं. In the world, Indians are spread all over the world. There is no country in the world where Indians are not there and doing pretty okay. What is the stereotype of Indians? What is one single word wherever you go? Anybody who travel, I travel a lot, from New Zealand to America to Africa to Europe to US, wherever you go. There is one thing people say about Indians, that we can trust Indians. अमेरिका में तो स्कूल्स में भी बोलते हैं कि अगर आपकी गाड़ी का भी ब्रेक डाउन हो जाए, कार ब्रेक डाउन हो जाए और आपको राइड लेनी है तो सिर्फ इंडियंस के साथ लेना और किसी के साथ. ये अमेरिका में हमेशा बोलते हैं. मैं पढ़ता था हार्वर्ड में तो people used to say this. And that's why so many CEOs of multinational companies today are Indians, because people realize कि ये तो loyal रहेगा, hard working रहेगा, trust कर सकते. Trust, the rarest of the value. The whole world is dying for trust. Indians have that value. Where has it come from? Obviously, your mother has given you that value. Your father has given you that value. Now think about your mother. All the students I am talking especially. जितने बैठे एक सेकंड के लिए हिलना डुलना बंद करिए, मेरी बात ध्यान से सुनिए. For 30 seconds, think about your mother. Think about her sacrifices. Think what they have gone to bring you here. You know where this trust is coming from you? In you? From where is it coming? Because you have seen the great struggle and sacrifice of your parents to build your life. You trust in human beings. Subconsciously, you know that is the family, my mother, who will always stand by me. When I go and become CEO of Google, she will come and she'll look after my children. That is victory. But that mother, the most victorious person you can ever come across, is never celebrated. So remember the last mantra. The greatest of the victories are never celebrated. They are just felt. Become that person. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We thank you, sir, for your enlightening words of wisdom. I would now request Professor Dheeraj Sharma, Director of IIM Rohtak, to present the memento to the guest.
We would now like to invite Professor Dheeraj Sharma to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Vivek ji, for sharing your thoughts with our students and sharing your experiences. Experiences are the things to invest. As they say, this is a generation which will invest in experiences. There was a generation which was focused on purchase of products. There was a generation which was focused on purchase of services. Now this is a generation which will purchase experiences. But I think the best experiences are to be had yourself. But they say that smart is a person who learns from experience and wise is a person who can learn from others' experiences. So I'm sure through the others' experiences you have heard today, and you've learned something, and you'd be able to implement some of those things in whatever little form that you deem appropriate. Again, Vivek ji highlighted on the trust deficit and the world desiring a role for India. The recent G20 summit is a testimony to that, where the world's 20 most important countries look up to India to even broker peace between the two conflicting nations, Russia and Ukraine. However, at the expense of being presumptuous on where this thought ends and where this thought leads us, this is an era of Indian wisdom. We have always been wise, and I'm telling you, I don't know what Vivek ji will have to say on this, but I believe that many are things which have happened in the movie industry, particularly, have really attempted to damage some of the most important attributes which have contributed to the trust and reliability of India and the Indian wisdom. So when he said that these values come from your mother and your father, I don't know in the last 20 years how many of the most important Bollywood movies ever demonstrated that value or trust, particularly in the last 20 years. I've written about this thing. This has disappeared. Today, we have, I'll just quote a scene from a very important movie, actually a multi-crore Mangal Mission Mangal. I've talked about platform, Mangal Mission. Because it was about India and India's success story, I actually took some of our faculty members and their children to watch that movie. And in that movie, there is a scene in which one of the scientists, who's a woman, she lives with her mother-in-law. And the mother-in-law is critical of her for not having children. That's a scene in the movie. And the mother-in-law makes a sniding remark at the young woman scientist that, how come you've been married for so many years, you don't have a child? This is a scene in the movie. And the husband, who is the son of this lady, of course, because, mother-in-law, says, quote unquote, iski photo pe haar kab pade? Now, you could be the worst possible son or a daughter in this country. But I'm quite confident that unless you are a psychologically damaged individual or are suffering from a psychiatric ailment, no person would desire of any kind, even serendipitously, for their mother to die. So why are we planting these notions through movies in the heads of our students? Recently, we witnessed, there is a case which is going on where a lover has chopped up the body of his girlfriend into pieces. If some of you have seen an OTT series called You, has anybody seen it? Well, how closely does it resemble to You? There was a hand raised there. Somebody raised a hand there. Can you please stand up? Yeah, lady right in the middle, right behind you. How closely does it resemble to that? Again, my point is made. My point is that if we start taking anomalies and bringing them to mainstream, this really then is believed to be a normal activity. Under no circumstances, I'm telling you, under no circumstances, any person in the right state of mind desires their mother to die. But when these are presented as scenes in one of the biggest and the most celebrated movies, this has a deep and profound impact on the viewers. And it's called subliminal stimuli in marketing terminology. When you plant that subliminal stimuli, all of them becomes important. In my generation, we could not even argue with our older brother, but today we are doing that. So if we have to nurture the reliability of India, the trust in India, the wisdom in India, we should not allow all these media diets, particularly coming from the movie world, to damage the very notion, the very values, the very systems which have nurtured us to bring us where we are today. It is important we do not allow these subliminal stimuli to indoctrinate us into that particular mindset. We should not allow these anomalies which are reflected in the movies to become mainstream. I have talked about this. I wrote an article in 2015 on this. There's a big pornographic star who came to India and was introduced in one of the biggest television shows, highlighted and prominently placed as a participant in that big television show. In that big television show, which is showcased at the prime time, one of the biggest movie directors comes and signs that or offers to sign that person for a movie. That individual, that particular pornographic star, was doing very well in North America. And there's nothing wrong. Please don't judge me that I'm trying to pass judgment or pass a judgment on somebody's professional choices or doing whatever. That person pursued this particular career in North America for a decade, made millions of dollars, but was never in the mainstream in the US. That's the greatness of their society. That while that individual was a millionaire doing the same work and was very successful, very recognizable in that part of the world, but that person never got invited to Jay Leno, David Letterman, Dan Brothers, Charlie Rose, or even in any of the top broadcasting services. But when that same individual comes to India, in order to demonstrate this false notion of openness, forward thinking, liberalism, is offered a movie, what does that tell me? That I don't really need to train to become an actor. I don't need to learn and put an effort to learn to become an actor. All I have to do is make some noise, and everything is then acceptable. And this too is an option, which means that the traditional path of devoting yourself is for the suckers, and the non-traditional path of making a noise and getting accolades, and then everything else is forgotten, is now the path to take. And that, I believe, is the single most damaging thing which our movies have done in the last 2 decades, is that they have tried to demonstrate to my youth that the traditional path is for the suckers, and the non-traditional path, where you challenge everything that your generations tell you, challenge everything that experts tell you, challenge everything that your heritage tells you, challenge everything that your culture tells you, challenge everything that is celebrated, is the way of becoming forward-looking and liberal. I thank you very much, Vivekji, for coming to our institution. I'm grateful. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. We had like to extend our warmest gratitude to our esteemed guests for joining us today. We request every one of you to raise for national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you very much.